Hey guys, welcome to Behaviours United, welcome to another video, and today is finally time to talk about Barcelona and about that situation that happened against Celta Vigo during the game in the second cooling break, and those images that you guys probably by now you have seen already about how Messi and Rakitic specifically were ignoring the instructions or whatever, I don't know, because they were plainly ignored it, and the instructions of Eder Sarabia. And from I've mentioned it in my channel before. I think I put one video out there about life after Messi. Would it really be that bad? Like if push come to shove, would we be able to survive without Messi? Could we be a team that could compete for all titles without Lionel Messi? And I put it out there. I think that was probably earlier in my YouTube videos, if you guys want to look for it. And I put it out there. And what I was saying back then, it's going into the lines of what I'm going to say now, and that is that these players, there's a group of players that, for the purposes of topics right now and a further discussion, I will call it club of friends. This term was used by Lieberman. He said in Spanish. There's a commentator, an Argentinian commentator, that criticized a lot Messi. Well, it is what it is. I don't agree with everything he says, but he's called them apparently club of friends, club de amigos, and I think I'm gonna stick with that. I've also seen other YouTubers call it that, so we're all referring to the same group of players. They are Messi, Piqué, Suarez, Jordi Alba, Rakitic, and Sergio Busquets. Maybe Sergio Roberto could be in there, but we're not gonna include him in the conversation. What is the club of friends? The club of friends is this term of a group of players that have been at a club for a long time. They have won many titles. They've pretty much won everything that there is to win at a club in their career. We have World Cup winners. We have multiple treble winners. We have Champions Leagues, La Liga titles. We have Copa America finals. We have a Copa America winner. We have Rakitic that finished runner-up in the World Cup. We have players that have been there and won pretty much everything that there is to win in world football, and they've been doing it for a long time. They've been consistent players for a long time already. So what am I implying with that? What I'm implying with that is that I don't want to. What I'm gonna say, what I'm going to say, I don't want you guys to take it out the wrong way, and that I'm singling out these players, specifically them, because this happens at every successful club. It happens at Real Madrid. That's a reason that they always have dressing room issues. That's why Zidane, I think, has been the best thing that Zidane has done has been pretty much to manage those egos at bay. Have them kind of competing in the Champions League. In La Liga hasn't been that consistent, except this season that he's been able to motivate them, to tell them maybe, hey, let's win La Liga. But he had the egos to deal with of Cristiano, Ramos, Marcelo, Toni Kroos, Luka Modric. He's had to deal with a lot of egos. That's, for example, what happened to Benitez. Why Real Madrid were very successful with Benitez, with Lopetegui. Because they weren't able to manage those egos because they got far too big to manage by anyone. And you might be saying, well, isn't it the manager's fault that you're not able to deal with those egos? And yes, to a point, your manager needs to be a psychologist. It needs to be someone that can manage a certain type of ego. But it gets to a point where the players believe that the club owes them everything, that they've done everything on their own, that's pretty much been all their fault, because obviously they're the footballers. They're the ones that scores the goals, that saves the shots, that makes those last tackles. So they get those recognitions. They're the players that lift those trophies at the end of the season. The photos that we see are of those players. So they get all that maximum recognition, and it kind of goes to their head. So again, not saying that this is specifically only to Barcelona players. It happens at every club. It's gonna happen probably at Bayern. It happened at Bayern already, kind of. Except that the way that they run the club is very well done, in the sense that they have a lot of players from Germany that know the club, that know the philosophy of Germany, and and whatever problem if they're supposed to a problem, they kick them out. That's why I think Bayern is probably the best well-run club in the world for over 3 decades, probably even longer. That's probably Bayern's best recognition that I can give them. They've been able to be a maximum club for a long time consistently. And the thing with Barcelona is that what we saw in the video of specifically Messi and Rakitic too, but Messi specifically. Why? Because he's the leader. He's the captain. He's the person that everyone looks up for in the team. He's the player that when they're in trouble, they look up for him. So what do you think the players must be thinking when they saw that? Because Piqué saw that. They're saying so that everyone saw that. Every single one of his teammates saw how he directly ignored the orders of the second coach, of someone that is trying probably to tell you something about the game, like, hey, maybe do this, do that. We have 15 minutes to lock the game up. We're 2-1 winning. And the thing is that we didn't see this video like after 1 or 2 days after they start the game. But right after the Celta game, I heard those comments about Suarez. Coincidentally, he speaks up the day that he scores 2 goals and says that, hey, like, we did what we could, but it's kind of like the managers, like, it's the manager's job to to get us over the line in those away games, making it out as if we never have problems in away games before Setien. Like, we had the problems away from home, specifically with Valverde. Like, we've been doing horribly away from home since Valverde. Like, since Valverde this season specifically, those away games have been absolutely horrendous. It's not only been Quique Setien. And it's specifically that trip to Vigo, the last time Barcelona won in Balaídos away from home was in 2015. It's been 5 years, and you're blaming that on Setien. So it's clearly for me a message from like the players that we don't want Setien. We're not comfortable with Setien. We don't think that he's he's not what we want. We want Valverde. We want someone like Valverde. We clearly knew that those players were supporting Valverde. Like, and I'm gonna be showing the images probably during the video if you haven't seen them already. But they're like in the way of Piqué. I see 3 to 4 hours about how Suarez at Celta is saying it's the manager's responsibility to get us over the line, but again, after the Super Cup defeat, he's saying we are fully responsible. The players are fully responsible. Messi saying the same thing. Who remembers Busquets saying this kind of similar thing for Luis Enrique? Like, when it's Luis Enrique and Quique Setien, it's the fault of the manager. When it's Valverde, it's their fault. Is that how it works? Like, because that's what they're saying. They're only protecting the manager that they liked. If they didn't like a manager, they pretty much, if they lose, it's because of the manager. If they win, it's because of them. And this cannot be. This cannot be, because we're not being allowed to compete at a maximum level because they're not respecting the coach. They're not respecting the person that is deciding the way that we can succeed during the season. And the thing is that I don't care how many trophies those players have won. I really don't care, because they are proven players, but they're not proven tacticians. They don't know how to deal with a dressing room, at least in the manager's sense of doing things. They don't know how to set up a team. And if they do, please have those players retire, get into a sporting director or like a coaching license, and start coaching. Before that, I don't want to hear any of it. The responsibility of a player is to play and nothing else. Of course, they can explain. They can, explain if they have any, suggestions here or there, or they have any concerns. They can express it, of course. But it should be taken under consideration, and it should be listened. But it should not be followed if it's not what is the best for the club. And I'm going to say, I've said it before, I'm going to say it now, and I will be saying this until the end of days. The person that wants the best for the club is always the coach. Because the coach depends solely on winning. The players don't depend solely on winning. And if you want the proof of that, after Paris, after Turin, after Roma, after Liverpool, we still have Messi, we still have Suarez, we still have Alba, Rakitic, Busquets. We still have all these sets of players. And the ones that get the blame, oddly enough, the one that got the blame in Paris was Andre Gomez. The one that got the blame in Turin was Mathieu. The one that got the blame in Roma was Umtiti. The one that got the blame at Liverpool was the lack of concentration, or it was that Dembele missed one goal. Like, you're basically blaming like a player that came in 2 minutes before the game finished, had 2 chances, okay, didn't finish any of them, but you're blaming that he didn't score 1 goal that you conceded 4? It seems pretty unfair to me. It seems pretty unfair that you have to always pick on the weak one. You don't pick on the players that are responsible, those players that are on massive wages, that we pretty much are not able to move freely around. The reason that we have to sell Artur for 80 million is not only that we spend massive amount of money on signings that haven't performed at the level that they were supposed to, the likes of Griezmann, the likes of Dembele, and the likes of Coutinho. There are other signings, but those 3 in particular. It's not only that they were signed for mega fees, but that the players that we have already have been renewing all these years for massive wages time and time again. Jordi Alba, I believe he's 30 years old now, or 31, and he got renewed until 2024. Rakitic, he finished his contract in 2021. Are we going to renew him? Are we not going to renew him? Suarez, apparently they want to renew Suarez, and he's already 33. Messi, 33. Busquets, I believe 32. Piqué, 33. And you want to renew all these players year over year over year. We're going to end up like Milan 2.0. It's not a joke. That's what happened to Milan. They didn't want to let go of Gattuso, of their best players, of like Maldini, of Baresi, of all these players. The most successful player for Milan, especially the last one with Ancelotti, was a Milan that they pretty much had their players, into their mid to late 30s at the club. And the worst thing is that they signed those players on long-term contracts at a older age of a footballer, and those players are massive wages, consuming money out of the club. And at the end of the day, they go out of the club for free because they retire, or they leave on a free contract because no one is going to be willing to pay those massive wages for them in order to get a transfer fee. So, what happens right now is that we are on a problem because we have players that, 1, are massive wages. 2, there's far too many of them. 3, they have taken pretty much over the dressing room and over, the club hierarchy. And 5 is that they are not allowing for our younger players to play. Because naturally, if they are playing, the younger players are not. Meaning that while we should be having Messi alongside 2 other players that are not Suarez, you either play with one of Messi or Suarez, and in the odd game here or there, you play with Messi and Suarez. We're always having to see Messi, Suarez, and then we have to pick between Braithwaite, between Griezmann, and between Ansu Fati for that last one spot. If Frenkie de Jong was fit, we wouldn't have seen Riqui Puig, because it would have been Rakitic, it would have been Busquets, Arturo Vidal, and Frenkie de Jong. No Riqui Puig. If it was in defense, Piqué has been amazing this season. I'm not gonna deny that. But he doesn't get to rest. He doesn't get a rest. He doesn't miss a game ever. And if he missed, I would probably say that Piqué in the last 3 seasons has missed less than 10 games. And I don't think I would, like, between La Liga games and Champions League, I'm pretty sure that if you count out those match days where we already were qualified for as first place in the round of 16 in the Champions League, so if you count only the first 5 match days in the Champions League and the crucial La Liga games of the season, the ones that we're still competing for trophies that we haven't decided in the La Liga yet, Piqué has started pretty much all of them, except for the ones that he's either banned because of the accumulation of yellow cards, that he has a suspension, that he's injured or something like that. Other than that, he doesn't seem to rotate ever. While we have Tolivo at Schalke being loaned out. We have Clement Lenglet, we have Araujo that I want to try out because the kid seems to be interesting. And in the case we have Umtiti, that maybe the problem with Umtiti is that he hasn't gotten continuity and maybe he hasn't gotten into the dynamic of playing football yet. So I want to know what the problem at the club is, because the problem at the club for me is that at least we have to get rid of 4 players: Suarez, Piqué, Rakitic, and unfortunately for me, I think that if we want a club that is humble, a club that is going to be hungry for trophies, and a club that's going to fight for everything, we also must get rid of Lionel Messi. And for me, it's a shame. I would, getting rid of Messi for me is the last ever resource. But I think that if Guardiola was here, if the circumstances of 2008-2009 were here, where we have a board that's going to support the manager fully in the decision that he takes, we're going to have a manager that's going to be brave to take decisions that need to be taken. Are you really going to tell me that if those situations presented themselves and we had the younger Guardiola that, wasn't afraid of taking the big players out of the team in order to secure the younger players getting minutes and also securing the health of the sanity and competitiveness of the squad, would you really tell me that Guardiola wouldn't kick out likes of Suarez, Piqué, Rakitic, and Messi? Because he kicked out Deco, Ronaldinho, among others. The 2 biggest names probably in the squad. And he also wanted to get rid of Eto'o. He couldn't because no one came in for him. But the next season after that, he got rid of Eto'o. We did a horrible deal in our sense, that was getting rid of Eto'o and paid money for Ibrahimovic. That wasn't a good deal, but they were so desperate to get rid of Eto'o that that's what they resorted to. Ibrahimovic was having similar attitude. We got rid of him together with Henry because they were having similar attitudes that season. So for Barcelona, it's always been that philosophy. If players start causing problems, we need to get rid of them. Rivaldo with Van Gaal caused problems after winning the Ballon d'Or playing in left wing. After he wins the Ballon d'Or, he says that he's only going to play down the middle or he's not going to play at all. And we renew Rivaldo. He starts causing problems. Figo leaves to Real Madrid, and the whole squad goes to crap. We go into the Gaspar era, and in the 2002-2003 season, we have to be fighting to get into the Europa League. So please, someone explain to me, how are we supposed to move forward after this? Because the problem is that I know that I'm gonna get hit with dislikes in this video. I know that for a fact. That when I say that we should get rid of Messi, people are gonna be saying I'm crazy, that I'm toxic, that how can you say that? You don't know what Messi brings to the team. What would we be without Messi all these years? Well, the thing is that we won trophies without Messi. There is teams that have been successful without Messi. The best teams in the world right now, Liverpool and Manchester City, do not have Lionel Messi. And coincidentally, They have leaders of a project that are Klopp and Pep Guardiola that take full responsibility and decisions of the club. There is no player bigger than the manager, and coincidentally, the clubs put full trust in them. Clubs that don't intervene in the sporting decision, that just do the financials, worry about like the sponsorship deals, but leave the sporting things to the people that know, the managers and the sporting directors. At Barcelona, it's in the sporting decisions is Bartomeu, then Vidal, and together with Vidal is also the suggestion from the club of friends. That's why they don't pass the ball to Griezmann. That's why they don't pass the ball to Dembélé, because if they make successful out of Griezmann and Dembélé, then Neymar is not justified to come to Barcelona. So I'm getting really annoyed at this moment in time that we have to deal with players that have taken the club under under their like scrutiny, because it's just very, very dangerous for that to happen. And if it was up to me, I would have gotten a clear out a long time ago. Like in 2017, we should have got rid of Suarez and Neymar. In 2018, get rid of Rakitic, and then you could have renewed the team. Maybe before you sign Coutinho, you sign Mbappe. Before you get rid of Piqué, you sign De Ligt. You get rid of Rakitic for 90 million, and you get to sign Frenkie de Jong and Artur. But we didn't do any of that. And I know that talking right now is very easy, that I'm taking about the situation. But the thing is, right now, we could compete without Messi. Because, okay, maybe we don't have the quality of Messi, that it is the best in the world. I'm not gonna dispute that. But what happens if we maybe play with Griezmann, Ansu Fati, and Dembélé? And you might be saying, what are we gonna do with that? Griezmann doesn't score against anyone. Dembélé cannot stay fit any single time. And Ansu Fati is 17 years old. Well, let me tell you, go back to the game against Betis and Valencia at the beginning of the season. Those were Griezmann's best games, and coincidentally, those were the games where Suarez and Messi did not feature. At least Suarez featured in the Valencia game, but very late. So, what that says to me is that whenever Messi and Suarez are not in the pitch, Griezmann gets to feature a lot more. Gets, participate a lot more, because they're balls actually going for him, into him. He's participating. He feels like he's going to contribute because they're going to pass the ball to him. Dembélé did not have injury problems at Borussia Dortmund or at Rennes. He started having those problems at Barcelona. Rafinha at Barcelona, injury problems. Leaves for Inter, no injuries. Leaves for Celta, no injuries. Like, what that says to me is that, and Malcolm said it a few months ago. He said that at Zenit he got injured very early on because his training at Zenit was much harder, because at Barcelona we only train for 40 to 50 minutes. And no wonder that our fitness seems to be very, stale, that those players don't want to play with a high level of intensity all the season through, because they can't. Because training 40 to 50 minutes, you can't play with maximum level of intensity. You cannot play like a Liverpool. You cannot play like a Manchester City, because you need to train for hours. You need to prepare yourself at a maximum level. But of course, if you want to play all those 50 games of the season, you cannot train at maximum level. You cannot do that, because you will not be able to physically do that for 33-year-old players. A 25-year-old player can do that. A 33 cannot. And that is the reason. That is why I'm going to be saying right now, and going to be doing videos in the future about Barcelona, Life After Messi version 2, or what we need to do going forward. But anyways, guys, this was a longer video. I'm sorry I tried to make it as short as possible, but I needed to, get this out of my mind. Leave me all your opinions in the comment section below. Comment, like, subscribe, and I'll see you next one. Blaugranas.